Hey everybody, Josh Hatter here. Today is going to be a new video for me. I'm going to try a GLC list. So obviously I can't really play a game because there's no GLC like thing on the ladder, and I couldn't get anyone to play for the video with me, but that's okay. So I'm going to go over the deck list. I have never made one before. I played like a few games when they first announced GLC over lockdown, and let's go GLC. So I have cards, but I never really built a deck. I didn't do a lot of research because I want to go in blind building the deck list. So make sure in the comments below to let me know what I'm missing, or like, why would you play that card? There's some much better cards. So I tried my best. With that, I did check the ban list, as there are a couple cards that are banned expanded in my deck, but they're not banned in this. I had to make sure, because I didn't want to have any banned cards on my list. But we're gonna go over the deck. Why I chose some things. It is a dark deck that uses the Absol from Crown Zenith to discard cards, and we use a bunch of Pokemon in our deck. Basically, I'll do something to discard or manipulate hand size or something like that. It looks fun. It's good. I don't know. But I will go over it. I will go over some cards I included and some cards I did not include. Maybe they're busted cards I didn't think were busted. And then you can let me know how I did below. But with that being said, we're going to rule that sick intro, and I will see you on the other side. Alright, so let's check out this GLC deck. So a quick overview of what GLC is, for those of you who might not know. GLC is a sick format there, invented by Tricky Jim, Andrew Mahone. It is 60 cards, but it is singleton. You can only have one copy of any card in your deck that is not a basic energy. You cannot use any rule box Pokemon, no ace specs, and it is the expanded format of black and white on. So a lot of cool things to do. You got so many sets. I'm pretty sure like each archetype kind of is established at this point, so it's gonna. But if you do play GLC, it's interesting because every set you're like, okay, cool. What's the new standard deck or something cool I can mess with expanded with my friends? But if you play GLC, you're like, what's the cool GLC deck we're going? So I looked at Crown Zenith and I was like, I'm gonna try one. So I made this deck based on this Absol here from Crown Zenith. It's a Lost on Pokemon, looks really cool. Slash for 30, let's go. And as Lost Claw, put a random card from your opponent's hand in the Lost Zone. So it does 70, which I'm pretty sure is like a fine amount of damage for GLC. And you get to pick a random card. So the whole deck is cards that kind of do things to your opponent's deck or hand to make him discard and have a low enough output so that you have time to get them and get the victory. So everything will be a one-of, except for the basic energy at the end. But we're going to go over the list, and I put some Josh Hatter spin on it, so I'm sure there might be more optimal. If there are, let me know. But so we start with the Absol. Then we got Alolan Grimer. It does collect for 2, for 0. So if you start with it, you're like, that's cool. That's whatever, that's fine. And then we got Alolan Muk. When you play this card from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon, you may look at the top 6 cards of your opponent's deck and discard any number of items you find there. So since it's a one-of format, I feel like there's going to be a decent amount of items because you have to have all the balls to get yourself going. You have to have, like, versus Seeker, you got to have a couple recovery cards, and I think it's really good. When I did make this deck when it was in Standard, and I did hit 6 a couple times, so I thought it was really, really effective to be able to discard at least 2 to 3. I think especially early in the game to get your opponent off their evolution and sense or off their way to get out their Pokemon. Then we got Inkay here. I chose this Inkay. There's an Inkay that, if it's confused, it evolves itself, which is really cool. But I did go with this one because it does no call for family. Searching for 2 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. Then it does tackle. Then we got Malamar. Alright, there's a few Malamars here. There's this Malamar. You can only use Dark. This Malamar, whatever. This Malamar, one of the coolest Malamars, I think, one of the coolest cards. You look at your opponent's hand, you discard a Pokemon, and use that attack. But I don't know how relevant that would be. You got this one, which is like you may move an energy. But I went with this one that's for 1 dark, mental trash. We all been there. Your opponent flips 4 coins, so you make them do the work for you. For each tails, they discard a card from their hand. So that's, yes, possibly 0. Up to 4 cards that your opponent makes themselves discard. You don't do nothing. You just announce the attack, and your opponent's like, wow, I can't flip heads. I have no hand now. Really cool. And then it does Distortion Beam for 30, but no matter what happens, you get an effect. If heads are asleep, if tails, they're confused. Confused might be better, because then they got to decide if they want to treat and stuff. But sleep is also good too. If they just, if the turn before they got 4 tails with mental trash, you're just like, well, now you're sleeping. You can't flip heads anyway. Then we're moving on to Nickit. So Nickit here, instigate. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck, shuffles their hand, and puts it on the bottom. And if any cards are put on the bottom, they draw 3. So they go second, or they go first. They got like 6 cards in hand because you can't do much. You're like, I will make you put your hand on the bottom and draw 3. And they're already behind. And then you evolve that into Thievul, which does Thief. Your opponent reveals their hand, choose a card there and put it on the bottom. Not a lot of damage, but I think it could be effective enough to slow down, because don't forget, this format ain't got a Crobat V. This format ain't got Lusamine UNB. And since you're, like, stuck with the type you are, like, grass, it's not going to have a Babero on it. You know what I'm saying? So I did go with that. Then we got good old Sableye Junk Hut. Heads are confused, but for 1 dark, put 2 item cards from a disc pile in your hand, just to get back your disruption cards. It is banned and expanded. I did have to check. It is not on the ban list in GLC, which makes sense, since you can only like 1 run of things. So you get heads. You see, we have Crushing Hammer and Hand Hammer. You get your opponent going. You get those back. You recycle them. Your opponent's not having a good time. Then we got Sandile. So I did go with this Sandile. It says as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent does 20 less damage to it. So if you start with it, it's not like a super big deal. You're not like worried, because you'll see with the other evolutions, there was a better Sandile to play, but I definitely went with this one just because it has the ability to take a hit. Alright, then we got Krokorok. So it does bite, but it does dredge up. Discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. So 3 colorless, you got that in there. You're discarding 3. It is actually a card. You'll see we have a tool and a stadium that can let us use it even when we evolve into our Krookodile. There's a lot of words on this Krookodile. I remember opening this card and be like, why, this is a Pokemon card. Is this a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Like, why are there so many words? So, it says, Bully of the Saiyans. When you play this Pokemon from your hand, you evolve one of your Pokemon. During your turn, you may discard a random card from your opponent's hand. If this Pokemon is your active opponent and is knocked out by damage, remember, not damage counters or effects or poison or anything, you discard a card at random from your opponent's hand. And then it is 160 for 3 and 32 itself. So, 160 HP, you evolve, you discard a card at random, you hit him for 160, you do 30 yourself, that's okay, you get knocked out, and you hit him again. Then we got 1 Yveltal. So, this is just kind of against the strategy of the deck, but I just wanted a Pokemon that does 30 and get a dark back. Pretty simple. Nothing wild. I did think about the one that discards 3 special energy, but not knowing how popular special energy are, thinking of the types of decks that might exist with each type only being 1 type, I don't think there's going to be like too many, so I did go with this one. Simple, 30, get something back. Then we got Zorua. 1 E-Voice. Choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it into their deck, and then 30 and discard energy on this Pokemon. Then we got Zoroark. So there are a plethora of Zoroarks to choose from. I had a rough draft. I used this one, so I can get back to stage 1. Can't use that one. And then I also had the one that just searches for a card, and then copies their attack. Also very good. And in the end, I decided to go with this one because it could. Sometimes I just got to attack for a lot of damage. So once you get turn, if the Pokemon's on the bench, you make your active. And then Mind Jack, 10 plus 30 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Sometimes, you know what, your strategy of disrupting, maybe you need to get their threat out of the way so you can get back to it. You can hit them for up to 160 damage. So, and it can come out of nowhere with those 2 colors. Obviously, we're going to have ways to do that in 1 turn. So that is the one I went with. Just because I feel like maybe I needed, hit him out of nowhere damage. So that is the Pokemon. We're going to move on to the items. We got Counter Catcher. I can only play this card if I am losing. Switch one of your opponent's active bench with their active. So, for those, it's like a boss's order for those people who might not be familiar. So, basically, you're like, knock me out, even if it's 5 to 6. I'm like, well, you got that guy. I think I can get stuck there. I Counter Catcher. I start discarding cards. You can't retreat. And you see the process going there. We got the Crushing Hammer. You got to have Disruption. You got to have Crushing Hammer in your deck. Flip a coin of heads, discard energy on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, you got the Disruption. Recycle with Sableye. Enhanced Hammer. I debated keeping this on my list because I don't know special energy. But I was like, you know what? Every deck probably plays at least 1 or 2 because of the special energy of their type that exists. So, discard special energy on one of your opponent's Pokemon. We got the Escape Rope. I just want to switch. Maybe you got like a bad bench and you got your attacker, low hand, I'll escape rope block something in there. We got the evolution distance, obviously, search deck for an evolution Pokemon. We got the Sweden Heavy Ball, looking to face some prizes. Your reveal based Pokemon, switch it there. Obviously, only having one of the Pokemon in your deck. This card is very good. I also thought about Town Map, which says flip over your prizes, but you cannot play this card if you play Town Map, because your prizes will be face down. So they go with this. Maybe that's wrong. Let me know below. Then we got the Level Ball. Get all those basic. Just more ways to get basic Pokemon in play. That's all. We got Nest Ball. Just getting reprint in Scarlet and Violet. Pick up yours now, or just wait for the reprint. Search your deck for basic. Put on your bench. We got Ordinary Rod. Shuffle up to 2 Pokemon from discard pile in your deck, and or up to 2 basic energy. Gotta recycle those Pokemon. You got those one-ofs. We got a Pal Pad. Just ways to recycle our annoying supporters. You'll see in a moment. We got the Quick Ball. Get those basics. We got a Rescue Scratcher. Put a Pokemon from a discard pile in your hand, or shuffle 3 from a discard in your deck. I debate on that. Or Super Rod, and I went with this one. That might be wrong. I don't know, but I went with that one. We got that Reset Stamp. Your opponent shuffles their hand in your deck and draw a card equal to how many prizes. So, I'm building on my hand. You're doing stuff. Alright, I'll counter catcher. Reset Stamp you to 1. Discard that card. Your card's stuck. See if I can get back in the game. Scoop up net. Be able to pick your Pokemon. Use that Muck over and over. Or if you just get a bad starter and you want it out of there. Scoop up net thing. Also save you from a knockout. We got Super Scoop Up. Same thing. But you gotta flip a coin. You might be able to drop this one. Realistically, for a different card. That I would say was a card I was like, I guess I'll include it. Not thrilled about it, but it is something that I went with. We got Ultra Ball. Gotta get those Pokemon. We got VS Seeker here. Put a supporter from this ball in your hand. The card's busted. I don't think they're gonna reprint it anytime soon, which is fine. But it is a really, really cool card. Then we go to the stadiums here. So, 2 of these stadiums do contradict the Zoroark, but that's okay because the Zoroark isn't my main attacker. Just like, whoa, gotta do something. So we got the Collapse Stadium, obviously. Each player can only have 4 bench. So my thought with this was, I could discard Muck. Or whatever, and save a Pokemon that might be getting knocked out. So I can get back Muck in my deck. I'm gonna do it again. Or like Krookodile if I used it, and I maybe... just one of those things. I did it to save a Pokemon. Basically, that might get knocked out. Or I don't need it anymore. Like, alright, I opened... this... And, like, the other Thievel's Prize, I know I'm not gonna need it. Like one of those things. Then we got Parallel City, a double-sided stadium. So whatever you play, way you play it affects the person. The red side said choose. So you choose which way. Grass, water, and fire Pokemon do 20 less. Obviously, that does not affect us, but you face those decks. It is very good. The other side is you do only have 3 bench, but again, to save Pokemon, I think it's okay, and it's just a good disruption stadium. If anything, you make your opponent have 3 bench, and it really annoys them, so you can have 1 of everything. Then we have Shrine of Memories here. Super cool card. I want to include it for the Krookodile and the Thievul. Each player's evolved Pokemon can use the attacks of its previous evolutions. So, there is a Sandile that does mill 3 cards, but it does it for 4. And the Krokorok does it for 3. So I figured you let the Krookodile sit there, right? You got Shrine of Memories out. And then you just like, boom, attack your opponent. Mill 3. If it takes them 1 or 2 hits to knock out, you're milling 6. And they're going to discard a card when they knock it out. So I definitely win with that one. Because I thought that was just like a super cool thing to do. Again, you could also do it with this. Do that. Your opponent gets a hand. Make him have 3 and hopefully they can't do much. Pretty cool. The other one's not too much. Heck, if you got Muck stuck and you want to draw 2 cards, do it. But I did have it for the Krookodile. So let's move on to the supporters here. We got Arezu. Search your deck for 3 evolution Pokemon. They don't have a rule box. That's all of them. In our deck, and put them in your hand. Chorus, shuffle your decks and draw a number of cards equal to the number of bench Pokemon. Again, I know we have a couple cards that makes it not good, but, you can still draw up to 10. Maybe more. Depending on what your opponent's deck is. It's a Skyfield deck. Then we got Cynthia. Shuffle your hand in your deck. Draw 6 cards. Always a good, simple draw there. We got Delinquent. Discard a stadium and play. If you do, your opponent discards 3 cards. There's a reason this card is banned in Expanded. Busted. Imagine you play Parallel City, your opponent goes to 3 bench, and then you make them have no hand. pretty good. You reset Sandem to 3. You have no hand. You see where we're going. We got Gloria search deck for 3 basic Pokemon. They don't have a rule box. Hey, that's also all their Pokemon. Guzma. Both, you choose one of their Pokemon to bring it up, and then you bring up one of yours. So it is cross-switcher as a supporter for those who did not play back then. You got Lusamine. Put in any 2 combination of supporter and or stadiums from your discard pile in your hand. So you get 2 supporters, 2 stadium. Just know with recycle cards, if you got a turn where your disruption is working, you want to get back your Guzma, your Parallel City, your Shrine. Helps you get that stuff back. We got Marnie. You know that one to shelf your hand. Put it on the bottom. They draw 4. You draw 5. Then you make them have less. We got Mars here from Ultra Prism. This card looks so cool, by the way. I draw 2. And then I discard a card at random from your hand. So obviously it goes on theme with our deck. We got the Misfortune Scissors. It's like Muk. Look at the top 5 cards your opponent's deck and put a number of items. Your opponent shuffles the rest back in the deck. So you got 2 ways to do that, which is pretty cool. We got N. Each player shuffles their hand in your deck and draw like how many prizes they have. Great late game. If you got to play turn 1, you both get 6. That's fine. We got Ninja Boy. So with Ninja Boy, this might be bad. To, like, oh, I have this in my hand to do something turn 2, but I start with the wrong Pokemon. Or if you want that Nickit, turn 1 to make him only have 3, you can just Ninja Boy into that. Boom. And the thing about it is, too, if the Pokemon wasn't played for a turn, you can't evolve it. Because that is how that works. It's kind of like Thornton. Thornton is the spiritual predecessor to Ninja Boy. But, so that's what it is there. So if you got someone sitting on the bench, you're like, oh, I had that Yveltal on the bench. Let me Ninja Boy it into blank and then evolve. So, pretty cool there. We got Pierce. Search for an energy card and a dark Pokemon. Put them in your hand. Hey, our whole deck is dark. I went with the Raihan. You're going to be making comebacks in this deck. You got to build up your strategy there. Pokemon's knocked out. Test basic energy. Then search for any card you want. And then the last supporter, Team Rocket's Handiwork. Flip 2 coins for each set. Discard 2 cards from your opponent's deck. So, just another way to discard cards from your opponent's deck. Then we got a float stone there. Your Pokemon has no retreat cost. It's like so the stone is better than the air balloon. This rock is better than a balloon. I don't know Pokemon logic. And then we got Memory Capsule, just like Shrine of Memories. Pokemon this card is attached. You can use the attacks Pokemon that are beneath it. Obviously, I have to have the energy, so it's just another way to be able to copy Thievul and Krookodile. Then we got the energy cards here. You got 1 double turbo. You do 20 less, that's okay. You got 1 triple acceleration. I did put 1 in, just to get that attack out of nowhere with Krookodile, if you have to. You know, your opponent's like, oh, you got 3 cards. Boom. Attack for 3. With Krokorok, I'm sorry. It has 3 colorless at the end of turn. You discard it. We got we got a double colorless, just 2 of anything, or 2 colorless. We got Hiding Dark Energy. It's free retreat cost. We got the Twin Energy, another way just to have 2 colorless energy. And then we finish out with 4 dark. So I thought about how many dark I should play. I went with 4. It might be wrong. That might be too little. I don't know enough about draw to know if that is too little or not. Maybe 5 or 6 was better. I had 7. So they have 5. I had 7. You could drop this for sure. And go to 6. I'm not sure. Is this too cheeky? Alright, we're just making a change. We'll do it. We're going to 5 dark. So it's like we have 6 dark. And then the other end. So that's changing while I'm filming. I don't know. So, with that being said, this is Dark Disruption. First ever GLC deck I have made. Is it good? I don't know. Does it look fun? Yes. I enjoy decks that annoy my opponents. At the very least, I know I will annoy my opponent. So with that being said, I'm Josh Hatter. This is the T-Table. That's just a cool GLC deck, I think. And I'll see everybody next time.